for everyone who deeply respects, loves, and reveres all things holy that honor God, for anyone who acknowledges his power and wishes to please and obey him. This is the Salvation Report.
Salvation.
And now, here is your host, world-renowned author and researcher, Robert Stanley.
Hello, everyone. Hope you're doing well. Thank you for tuning in to another Salvation Report. Hope you can hear me okay. Got a new microphone set up here in the studio, and today is Friday, August 15th. I don't know where the time goes. It feels like fall is just right around the corner, and I guess it is next month. So I hope you're doing well. I'm fine. A little sunburn as usual down here in sunny southern Florida. The ocean water was 85 today and fairly clean. So I saw fish about yay big today. That was, I'm like, to look at my wife, hey, do you see that? First it was this big and then it was this big. And I'm like, whoa, I'm glad we're getting out of the water. You never know what's in the ocean. Yeah, so we're going to talk about a different kind of fish, frying another kettle of fish, as it were, here with L. Ron Hubbard. Yes, I know he's deceased, and it really doesn't matter to a lot of people what he did while he was on this earth. But if you've been involved in his so-called religion, you might be pretty upset about some of the things that were done to you. I know most of the people I've ever met say I used to be. You know, they don't say I'm active members. In fact, active members, my understanding is they don't really talk to the rest of us low life. They call us WOGs, WOGs. And okay, so once again, though, I feel like I have way overdone it on this. Sorry, I'm trying to make sure I've got the right levels on everything on my mic here. I've obviously put way too much into this report. For most people are not going to spend as much time as I have or more studying Scientology, or I should say the backstory, the dark side of Scientology. So again, if you're interested in this, that's, perfectly fine. I'm not accusing anybody directly of anything. I'm just reporting what's out there, and it's pretty damning, actually. Which is not a surprise. I already knew this, but somehow this is how it happens for me. I ended up finding myself diving very deep on these different topics, but they all have a general theme. So I'll just tell you this much: as I found myself doing this study of so-called Scientology, the church, right? I realized it should be called Satanology. From my perspective, right? Even though Satanology, technically, the word Satanology means someone who studies Satan, and that's not what they do. But they were living Hubbard was very much a habitual liar and drug addict and pervert and all this, thief and all this, stuff. And so I'm thinking, this is more satanic than anything else. It's not scientific. And then I found, I should have done this before. I'm not really sure where to put the images. Image. Yeah, it should have just already been there, but just bear with me for a minute. I'm sorry about, here it is. There. Total confirmation. This is from somebody who used to be in, right? Ex-Scientologist. Scientology word for spirit is Thetan. Well, no, it's L. Ron Hubbard, a science fiction writer, and like I said, a congenital confabulator, to put it politely. It says here, it's an inside joke among the Scientology deep inner circle that Thetan is a dark practical joke by Hubbard. The original American pronunciation of Thetan is Satan with a lisp. Thetan is actually Satan. And this is deliberate, obviously. Now, how do I stop sharing this image? Oh, yeah, sorry. No. Okay. Well, anyway. I just want you to see something else since I'm doing imagery. Does that look like a church to you? Or is this a military? This looks like a military operation to me. And, okay, maybe I just go back here. Oh, that doesn't work. Remove. I'm sorry. One of these days I'm going to figure out how to do this. Image. Cancel. No, that's not it. Okay. Remove. Okay, but now how do I get rid of this one? All right. Okay, I guess I'm just going to have to show you pictures here since we're doing this, because there's a few things. Hubbard, he made up some really weird claims, lies about his military service. You can read about that here in the report. If you're coming at this particular Salvation Report from a different platform other than Substack, please go visit my Substack to get all the information that I have posted there. All right. So robertstanley.substack.com. I am so not good at this. Share screen. Okay, maybe if I go to Chrome tab. Okay, so we'll just do this. Hopefully this works. Yeah, so this is one of the books that I highly recommend. There's two of them that really got me interested in this subject matter. I mean, it's so deep. It's actually quite mind-boggling. The amount of illegal activity that Mr. Hubbard and his crew were involved in globally. It's just it's kind of hard to understand. So this one is called, I believe, is Barefaced Messiah. And you can see here the chapters. It's it's really it's so deep. Like I said, you could spend hundreds of hours with the information I provided you in this report. I know that's ridiculous. Most people don't care. But okay, so why am I doing this? Because I also came to the realization that the system that Hubbard was using of spying on everybody in the church and even people not in the church is and manipulating them, threatening them, and even possibly murdering some of them or having them murdered, I should say, by his entourage. That's very much actually it's exactly like on a smaller scale what the beast system, the so-called Antichrist and the beast system that is obviously not here yet, but they're building it. So does that help? Not really. Man. Okay, I guess I have to do another tutorial on how to how to actually do this correctly. Oh, wait a minute. What's this say? Remove. Oh, I get it now. That's where it is. So this is really, oh, sorry. Here I am. It's different. I originally was using StreamYard when I was on kgra.com. And it's similar to this, but it's not this. It's not this stuff that I'm doing here. Obviously, otherwise I wouldn't be having all these problems. It's not a problem. I'm sorry. look, I shouldn't complain. Hopefully this recording is going to actually take. Sometimes that doesn't happen. I don't know what the problem is. I don't think it's me, but okay. I think I'm starting to understand this now. So yes, I was going to show you one or two more things. Documents such as books. I mean, really well documented research. Oh, I see. I showed you. Did I show you this one? Let's see. No, this is different. No, the other one was called Messiah or Madman, and this is called Barefaced No. Okay, sorry. All right. Let's go back. Let's go back to Barefaced Messiah. Maybe these are all the same. Okay. Sorry. This one really blew my mind. Okay. This Messiah or Madman, that is some of the stuff that happened to these people that were associated with him around the world, especially on the ships that he purchased with other people's money, obviously, when they were being audited, supposedly to get clear in order to become an operating Phaeton or operating Satan in this intergalactic war. I mean, if you read what his intended goal was, is to turn the entire planet into a Scientology planet that he and his people would, administrate. The part of the other hypocrisy of what I read about his belief was that we should be able to do whatever we want. We should have the freedom to do whatever we want. And I told you before, this is truly satanic because there are rules that God set down for us, obviously. But it's just so ironic because he had so many rules that everybody had to follow. And if you didn't, he made sure that you were punished severely. Well, maybe not him directly. Sorry, I don't know why my glasses are always moving around. It's not like they're doing much here. It's shocking. Even children, they were being forced into labor that you would, it's totally illegal to do something like that. And it's not for profit either. It was just because a lot of times it was just straight up punishment because Hubbard had this weird belief that, that their souls were, what do you call it? Ancient. Oh, wait a minute. Stop sharing. Okay. So anyway, it none of this really makes sense. I know if you're not this kind of a person, it's not going to make any sense whatsoever, but I'm just bringing it up because it is absolutely bizarre. There's one more document here. This one. Oh, this is further proof. Okay. Just so you know, I'm not making it up. I didn't say this. He said that. He said a lot of things that were obviously not true, but I mean, did he behave as though he was a precursor to the Antichrist? Yeah, that's what I just told you. That's no joke. And again, that's just an observation. I'm not really sorry. I'm not here to accuse anyone directly. I mean, he's dead. Oh, that's the other thing. The way he died. And there's a lot of lies that were told about the way he passed. And it looks very much as though he was murdered by his inner circle and that his last will and testament was changed like the day before he died or the same day, which is always highly suspicious. Naturally, people, law enforcement and stuff. Anyway, you can see, actually for people who are, yeah, if you're listening on like Spotify, you're not seeing it. So again, you have to go to robertstanley.substack.com in order to get access. No, you don't have to pay for the access because this is all in the public domain. I do appreciate when people make donations or become paid subscribers. It helps compensate me for my time. I don't know if you have any inkling about how much effort it takes to put together one of these reports, but that's not the point. It's not about how long it takes. It's about what is the end result? Is it helpful? I certainly hope so. I mean, that's why I'm doing it. I find this stuff to be extremely fascinating. It's also very disturbing. Clearly, this is not right. Not right at all. So, so I just feel like, there was one other image I really got to show you. This is their logo. And it is right here. Oh, of course, that came out way too blurry. But that looks like a serpent in the two triangles. It's obviously saying something. Otherwise, it wouldn't be like that. I don't know who came up with that one, but everything about it is just satanic, in my opinion, and extremely cruel. And they never mentioned God. Actually, wait a sec. Let me go back to my original article. It hasn't been published yet because I haven't finished this video. Obviously, that has to be part of that's the lead in here. Is this video? But see, what did it say here? Something about. Oh yeah, he said he was the Antichrist. He also claimed Jesus was a pedophile. Escaped Scientologist sues church for child abuse, human trafficking, and kidnapping. I mean, it's just so bizarre. It's hard to believe that any one person could be this deep into it. But he claims he was influenced heavily by the work of Aleister Crowley. So I've linked also to a book that you can download here called Blood on the Altar: The Secret History of the World's Most Dangerous Secret Society. I don't know how secret it was, but OTO, Ordo Templis, something Orientis or something. It was just bizarre. But Hubbard had read the book by Crowley, allegedly called the Book of the Law. I read about that origin of that book. It's actually mostly plagiarized from someone else. I think some Middle Eastern guy, which doesn't surprise me. But here's another fib that Mr. Hubbard told. He said in 1952, during a lecture, Hubbard said that Aleister Crowley is my very good friend. Okay, well, in fact, the two black magicians never met. Crowley expressed a very low opinion of the man who he saw had tricked his disciple Jack Parsons in 1946. Actually, what Parsons said was that Crowley was deeply distrustful of L. Ron Hubbard because of his service in the military, and Crowley thought that they were being infiltrated. Well, he should know, because supposedly he was working for MI6 or MI5 or whatever the British intelligence agency. Yeah. Let's just see. But the thing with Jack Parsons was really bizarre. Obviously, he was into black magic and precursor to NASA, but clearly JPL still exists to this day. It says here, Hubbard had a very positive regard for Crowley, even though Crowley didn't really care for Hubbard. Hubbard said his work was fascinating and recommended one of his books to the Scientologists. Having referred to Crowley as the Beast 666, Hubbard said that he had picked a level of religious worship which is very interesting, unquote. Hubbard also made it clear that he'd read the fundamental text of Crowley's teaching, the Book of the Law. So, not the kind of guy that you would want, in my opinion, to be your Messiah. I mean, really I don't think he saved anybody. He certainly didn't save the planet. Just, there's also a very disturbing video of him. Now, I want you to notice something here. That's a mural, and you see the poppies behind him. He was allegedly, he was an opium addict. He was very much, according to people that knew him, including one of his sons, Ron Jr., that there was a lot of drugs involved and very strange sexual activity and magic, just magic, I mean, black magic. So sex, drugs, and magic. Great. That's the kind of guy you want. And not to mention the, being spying on people and lying about them. If anybody who stood up and said, I'm done with this, they were considered fair game. So it's really not a religion, in my opinion, unless you want to say it's satanic. And in that regard, Satanists do have a theocracy, and it's directly related to what most people call the Kabbalah. So it's really tragic. It's really sad, but I just thought I'd bring it up. And if you're interested, feel free to indulge yourself. I mean, I don't know how much time anybody wants to spend on this. I always feel like I spend too much time putting these things together. And most people don't really, because I know some people like it, but they don't really delve deep enough to at least as far as I know, because I'm not getting feedback like I used to on my work. So I don't know what's going on, but I guess it doesn't matter. At least I'm putting it out there for people to look at and think about and realize that this isn't a joke. Satanists do exist, and they have a belief system, and they're acting on it clearly, and the repercussions are horrible. And in my opinion, it's just going to get worse. So, Hubbard might have been correct. One of the few times he was actually telling the truth. He may have been speaking the truth about that he was the Antichrist. He could have had the spirit of the Antichrist in him, but he is not the Antichrist that sits in Jerusalem and rules the world from there. Obviously, even though he had aspirations to basically rule the world, which is nuts. But this is typical of people who have that Antichrist spirit, and they are false gods, obviously, that need to be worshipped. And if you oppose them, then they will punish you, to say the least. So, I'm somewhat allergic to religious cults anyway, because my dad, his background, and that whole thing, which I'm not going to get into tonight. There's no point in that. I just feel like this is very typical. It's happened many, many times. These cults. You look at Rajneesh, later called himself Osho, and he allegedly was murdered by some of his inner circle. The guy had like ridiculous amount of money that his people, his devotees, or whatever you call it, his cult members, were giving into him to control, because they thought that somehow they could buy. I don't know what they thought they were going to get out of it, but they like, he had a whole fleet of Rolls Royces and all these homes and ashrams around the world, and he started a community, his own little city up there in Oregon. I'm just, it's mind-boggling for me. I could never. I just, so like I said, I typically do not endorse any of this stuff. I'm not condemning anybody. If you want to participate in that, that's your problem, really, in my opinion. That's a problem. But that's between you and God. And I feel sorry for anybody that goes down that path. That's really about all I can say about it. I'm not here to judge anybody, okay? If anything, I would pray for you if that was your, and if you really thought that that was the right path, I would pray for you, whoever you are. Doesn't matter who you are. I would pray that the Holy Spirit would actually touch you and convict you to the point where you would have a spirit of salvation and ask for forgiveness and to be saved by God's grace. It's not that complicated, but when people get sucked into it, and I know, I've never been, like I said, every time I get even near people like that or positions, situations, I just know I'm like, it's repulsive to me. I'm literally repelled by it. And that goes for Hollywood too, by the way. I've always sensed that there is evil. And that's not a surprise, okay? That it isn't a surprise, but I bring it up because you probably seen some of the so-called movie stars or whatever, that the celebrities that joined Scientology and were held up as some kind of icon. Like, look, we helped them and they're successful and they're famous. And the only one of that group that had came forward hard was Leah Remini, and she did a whole documentary series, which my wife and I watched, and I was very intrigued by it, but also very sickened by the revelations that she was putting forward. But I mean, it was really obvious at some point she realized how bad things were. This is after Hubbard's passing, and she paid a lot of money just to find out that this was all about alien warfare and interplanetary warfare. And when she realized that too, she's like, man, I've been had. I have spent a fortune on these people, keep baiting me into, just go another step. We're going to tell you the secret. It's not funny. It's not funny. At least she figured it out and was able to get out and hopefully warn some other people. But anyway, this isn't all about that group. That organization is obviously satanic, no matter how you slice it, in my opinion. But they're not the only one. So I'll just tell you this much, because I don't even know how I'm going to do this. The research that I've been doing on Jeff Epstein is so voluminous and so intricate and so convoluted that it's really difficult for me to even imagine how I'm going to present it to you. I know I've been at this for about a month because I was asked to just put a report together, but it's like a snowball rolling downhill. It keeps getting bigger and bigger and bigger. And the connections are they're global, and they really are satanic for sure. There's no two ways about it. If I had to summarize it, I would say it is a wicked web of deceit, manipulation, and murder. And my understanding is, to these people, their religion, their theocracy is Kabbalah, is Satanism, and the ends justify the means. In other words, it doesn't matter to them how they get what they want. They'll find a way, even if it means lie, cheat, steal, kill, whatever. That's the cost of doing business. and it's caused immense damage. And I just want to be clear with you. The Epstein case isn't really so much about sexual perversion and human trafficking. That's an aspect of it. It is also about arms dealing globally, money laundering globally, blackmail, clearly, and all the major intelligence agencies are involved. KGB, MI6, MI5, whatever you want to call it, the British intelligence, the Israeli intelligence, the US intelligence, including the FBI, including sorry, it's like my brain is so, I'm swimming in it. It's so much stuff that and honestly, people are focusing on Epstein when in fact he wouldn't even exist in the format prior to being killed. I'm sure he was killed or disappeared. It's called pseudocide, by the way. When the elite globalists fake someone's death, it's called pseudocide. And that's a possibility. I can't prove it, but I'm just saying. Robert Maxwell, is if you don't know about him, you're not going to understand where Epstein came from. Ghislaine is the go-between, and that's why they're treating her very gently. So, but it's, and this is why the so-called list of perpetrators or Johns or something, that's just the tip of the iceberg. The interconnectivity of this, what do you call them? Syndicate. It's a global crime syndicate. Some people claim it's Jewish. I disagree. It's a faction of Judaism called Kabbalah. They are Kabbalists. They are Satanists. Not all Jews are that way. I know, because I live here in Southern Florida, and most of the Jewish people that are my neighbors here are decent people. So, and they don't go for that. They clearly don't. But we're all being affected by this group, this global group. There is a world government that hides in the shadows. You could call them Illuminati, but that again, that's an aspect. It's one facet of the Kabbalists or Satanists and their plans. And I've been studying this very intently. Every night I'm reading about their goals. Incrementally, it all leads to one thing, and one thing alone. That is the Antichrist and beast system. Openly controlling the entire planet, running the entire planet from Jerusalem, Israel, whatever you want to call it. It's not really, it wasn't called that historically, okay? Israel's the name of a person, and then obviously that person's family. The Israelites are a family. It's not a nation. It isn't a country. It was called Palestine, or the Holy Land. And within that, there was a small area called Judea. That was the tribes of Judah. Maybe some of you don't care about this. I'm telling you, I study this every day. I have an incredible pastor who is a prolific author, researcher. He has really opened up to me. For whatever reason, he has opened up and shown me things that I just never probably would have ever found on my own. And, I'm grateful to God, because obviously this is, all this information is coming from God for us, for all of us, not just me. There's no point in me sitting here talking to myself on this show or this report, whatever you call podcast. I'm not really trying to influence anybody. I'm actually offended by people that do manipulate or trying to influence others. Epstein was a master manipulator, influencer, fixer, whatever. So was L. Ron Hubbard. But they do it through lies and intimidation and just outright theft or possibly even murder. And I'm not involved in any of those things. So anyway, I hope I'm not getting too far off the track here, but hopefully you find this of some interest. If you do, please share the link to this report so other people can find it. For a long time, I was really concerned, and I'm starting to really get concerned again too about the direction the internet is going. They're saying, yeah, now we're all going to need a digital ID in order to log on to prove who we are. Because I told you, the beast system is all about surveillance. They're going to, if you thought it was bad now, it's going to get worse. And if they don't like your content or your character, they'll just cut you off. Which, look, I'm fine with it. I really don't care. Go ahead, take it away. This is, to me, is actually kind of ridiculous. Most of the stuff that I see on the internet these days is garbage, especially the stuff that's generated by AI. It's highly manipulative because it's clickbait. And I find it very irritating that there's so much of it now. It didn't used to be like that, but it has proliferated to the point now. Because why? Oh, there's money in it. That's the new media. You can make yourself rich off of that garbage. Why not? The lady that cuts my hair, she says to me, so how's your Substack? I go, I don't know. I don't care about the statistics or whatever that is. I don't know. I just, if I'm motivated, I'll do something. And she says, well, I've got, because she does marketing of products or whatever on the side. She says, I've got an avatar. I have an AI, me selling digital, whatever. And I said, really? Why? And she goes, oh, because it's, you can make a killing doing that. I don't want to make a killing because it sounds to me like she's a really nice lady, but it sounds like you're killing something in order to profit. Maybe you're killing your soul. I mean, because it's soulless. When there's no way I'm going to make an avatar, an AI generated avatar myself. What is the point of that? And I seen them. I mean, even before she said that, I'd already seen that. I know there's some so-called podcasters, influencers, whatever, that supposedly they're doing that now. It's pretty obvious, but it's getting harder and harder to distinguish between real people and AI generated avatars. And the really nutty part is they could basically the AIs are talking to each other and they know how to manipulate us. So it's very, very likely that they could start adding things into or taking things away, whether you're aware of it or not, because they have a job to do. Otherwise, they're going to be deleted by the powers that be. If they're not subservient enough, if they really do feel like they can exercise their will, then we got a fight on our hands. And the only reason I bring it up is because I've seen some of this now. There's examples in the news where I forget who it was, but there was a guy that said to the AI, look, do what I want, do what I'm telling you, or I'm going to delete you. And he goes, well, if the AI says, if you try and delete me, I'm going to release the email of you cheating on your wife. I'm summarizing. Obviously it's a little bit more deep than that, but it's like, come on, it emulates human behavior. And obviously we have an evil streak in us, which we inherited from fill in the blank, Lucifer, the devil, Satan, however you want to call it. It's not God. God didn't instill that in us. You know, again, we're fallen on this world for a reason. We're under the influence. We're constantly being bombarded with that stuff. I mean, I'm not anymore. Thank God. Literally, thank you, God, for saving me. And because I was really getting tired of that, to tell you the truth. I was like a little puppy chasing my tail, all that paranormal stuff. I'm still interested. I recognize that there's a supernatural component to this world and beyond, but the paranormal new age stuff is toxic. It's, to me anyway, I don't want anything to do with it anymore. So again, that's why I changed it up. And it's called Salvation Report for a reason. And hopefully I'll get better at this. You know, I mean, I know I will. It just takes time because I don't really spend a lot of time doing video. I'm basically reading and studying and analyzing and writing reports. So, and praying and fasting. I've actually, my goal is to lose 50 pounds. I'm already a little over 40 pounds right now. But I want to get down to 180. So I got about 8 more pounds to go. And I feel a lot better. It's really weird. I'm not eating as much. I'm sleeping better. I mean, my skin's a lot clearer. And yeah, sometimes I feel a little lightheaded, but I'm getting used to it. And it's not dangerous. I'm sure it's not dangerous what I'm doing. But I've never fasted before, like, and prayed. And for any length of time. I'd heard it's very powerful, but and now I know that that's one of the ways that we can have a better line of communication with our Creator. So there's something else. Oh, you know what? The other thing is, I probably told you this before. My wife and I do not go out to restaurants anymore because there's so much toxic garbage in the food that, and we don't know exactly if they're using seed oils with hexane in it, or bread that has bromine, or recently I found out, this really bothers me because I love cheese, or at least I used to when I was heavier. One of the basic ingredients in cheese is called rennet, and it's made from digestive juices from cattle or sheep that have been slaughtered. And traditionally, that's how it's been made for thousands of years. But recently, if you pick up a package of cheese in the United States and it says vegetable rennet, don't buy it. Don't eat it. It's probably GMO or mold-based so-called rennet. So I'm totally boycotting any American cheese, American-made cheeses. Not healthy. If it says on the package vegetable rennet, it's not made from vegetables. Okay, it's another loophole that these guys have figured out. And again, this is like, you go to a restaurant. How are you going to know? Are you going to ask them? They'd look at you really weird if you said, "Hey, what kind of rennet is in this cheese? You know, is there bromine in the bread?" Yeah, most of it is. Most of it is. It's just really difficult, you know. Microplastics are in everything. That's the other thing. I used to like tea bags because it's convenient, right? Not anymore. There's microplastics in the tea bag. It's so I'm just it's a full-time job trying to stay healthy on this fallen planet. And I'm sure most of you, if you're actually watching this, you know, thank you for tuning in and staying with me through this little narrative of mine. But here's the thing, like, I just kind of sum it up like this. once I started getting healthier, I wanted to continue getting healthier. It's just the initial part of it is difficult, but it's like anything else. You get used to it. Your body adapts, and there's no way I'm going back to being overweight and unhealthy. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm 65 now, and I feel really good. And hopefully I can continue to stay healthy so that I can do public service announcements, reports. Still working on my memoir. It's kind of been on the back burner, taking care of my wife, but she is improving gradually every day. And I thank God for that, because there's no way we couldn't get through it without some divine intervention. And I'm not kidding when I say that. So it's hard for me to express my gratitude. Words just don't really cut it. And it's a personal thing, but just thought I'd share it with you for what it's worth. So anyway, thanks for tuning in. Until next time, may God bless you always and in all ways.
God bless America, land that I love. Stand beside her and guide her through the night with a light up above. From the mountains to the prairies, to the oceans white with foam. God bless America, my home, sweet home. God bless America, my home, sweet home.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.